right, what's going on, beautiful people? It is the North Shore 9 Postgame Show powered by Primanti Brothers. I am Tyler. With me is the blue-eyed bandit, Neil. Neil, what's going on, boss man?
I'm tired. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this team, man. This is rough, man. There's not even fun watching these games at this point.
Okay, that's what we're here for. We're all sickos together. We're
Yeah.
all people are watching this postgame show because they're all crazy like us. We're talking about this team. We're going to continue to watch this team and talk about them because we're all crazy people. We have
Yes, we
nothing
are.
better to do.
It is yeah, I mean, like, clearly we have no other hobbies because we all spent a really nice for August afternoon. This is a really nice day down here in
Yeah.
Virginia. We spent it watching Pirates baseball.
I just love the fact that you are taking time out of your vacation, or you're not on vacation, are you? Or am I just
No, I'm actually
Okay.
I went back to work this week.
Well, you get back to work and you get to watch this. Lucky you.
Yeah.
And you get to join me.
It's great. I sit in meetings all day, and then I get to watch the Pirates when I come home.
Well, I guess we'll just go ahead and get to the bad news for you folks who watch the game along with us. The Pirates dropped their 10th in a row. They are an absolute nightmare. We're all here for it because we are all psychopaths. Before we get into all that, let's talk about BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. From the preseason NFL to college kicking off, BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our winner. Take all 300,000 NFL Survivor pool for the upcoming season. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today and use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, and get in on the action. Bet online, the game starts here. And if you bet online and bet against the Pirates these last couple weeks, you would be up a lot of money.
Yeah. Have you placed a bet against them yet?
No, I can't do it. I can't.
I should, because I never win bets. So if I keep betting against the Pirates, maybe it'll actually start winning games.
I'm just not a rational enough human being to be able to do that. I know it's a smart thing to do. I can't bet against my team. Can't do it.
Fair. Entirely fair.
Let's just get into this thing, man. Pirates lost 9 in a row. Coming into the day, we have Mitch Keller on the bump. Mitch Keller coming off a rough start.
Worst of the season. Yeah, I think the worst season of the season was the last Dodgers start, and didn't get better.
No. So, and really, I just want to start this thing off in the first inning here. So, Luis Arraez leads the game off. He singles. Luis Arraez does it. It's fine. I get it. The next play, and really the next play to me feels like a microcosm of this season. It is a ground ball. It's a tough play hit to Connor Joe. Joe dives. He stops it, knocks it down, not able to get the out at first. Next at bat, Jake Cronenworth drills 108 mile per hour off the bat. 3-run shot. Game's basically over at that point.
Yeah.
I just want to go back to that instance on the ground ball to Connor Joe. And I know it's a tough play, and I don't want to pick on Connor Joe here, but it just feels like the way this team's been going lately. Nobody is making that tough play. I sat there and thought about this. I don't remember the last time this team has made a play they shouldn't make over the last 2-3 weeks.
I mean, there was like the Cabrian Hayes play, like at third base when it was already kind of over. But no, like I think even the broadcast mentioned this. Like, when you were watching this Padres team turned a lot of good plays. They played a lot of good defensive baseball. Manny Machado was a nightmare for us this entire 6-game stretch against the Padres. Like, and that's one of the big differences. Is not only do they hit, but they're way better defensively than we are.
Oh yeah.
Connor Joe's never been a good defensive right fielder, but this team's not full of good defense. It's a bad defensive team.
It really is. We've known it for a while, and it's why Michael A. Taylor keeps getting at bats.
Yeah.
Because you don't have anyone else that can field a baseball in the outfield.
Mm-hmm.
But man, they are just so bad defensively, and when you couple that with the regression that we've seen pitching wise, it's hard to watch. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is. Like,
Really,
there was no enjoyment from watching today's game. And it is a shame, like, because the game wasn't close, and Mitch Keller wasn't his best, but this defense did not pick him up today.
I think wasn't his best is a little bit
Yeah, yes,
complimentary.
But like you have even like you mentioned Michael A. Taylor, and in this, he's out here flopping around for fly balls, diving for stuff that cost the Pirates runs in the second inning. Like, Michael A. Taylor tries to dive for a ball hit by Arise and bounces by him, and Tyler Wade scores from first. Like, it's these little things that the Pirates don't do well.
Yeah, they don't field well, they don't hit well, and right now they're not pitching well. That is how you lose 10 games in a row.
Yeah,
they are not doing anything well.
It's always something, because like when the offense hits, the bullpen falls apart, or the starting pitching falls apart. If the pitching's good, then we don't hit with runners in scoring position. It's a mess. It's a giant mess.
Yeah. And you mentioned Mitch Keller. He wasn't very good today.
No.
Truthfully, he was bad today. The velocity was down, way down, actually. I think the fastball was down almost a full mile per hour. Everything else was down 1.5 to 2. He looked bad. The home run he gave up to Cronenworth, it was a sweeper that he just left about thigh high, dead, and a little bit inside, but middle. He's just not executing pitches right now. And really what I want to get into about Keller here is, why on God's green earth was Mitch Keller still pitching in the 5th inning?
Because I don't know, probably because the game's over, and
Why are we wasting bullets from Mitch Keller when he doesn't have it? Velo's down. Why is he still pitching?
Not a clue. The only thing I can guess is that the bullpen's already taxed. There's a bunch of injuries, and so they don't want. But besides that, like, again, there's no. I don't know. Like, I think it was literally just like, you got to get through this game, and it was kind of like cutting your losses.
But really, he didn't.
No,
Domingo Germán came in at the end of the game.
Yeah,
he could eat 5 innings for you. Let that piece of crap get beat up. Who cares? He's useless to you. Mitch Keller actually brings value to you going forward. Why is Domingo Germán not coming in the 5th inning? And just let him get beat around. The game's over. It's 8-0. Who cares?
Well, I think I speak for everyone, as I don't think anyone will like a manager who admits defeat in the 5th inning. Like, I don't know. That's a constant criticism I hear about how Derek Shelton doesn't care, and but now it's bad that he isn't phoning the game in. Like, I feel like there's some double standards here. Not to make this a Shelton show, because
it's going to turn into a Shelton show.
Oh, okay, if we have to do Shelton, we'll do Shelton. But like, I mean, what do you do? You want him to like not want to win the game? I don't know.
8-0. Mitch Keller. His velocity is down. Mitch Keller is very, very valuable to you going forward. You just signed him to a long-term extension. Velocity down. There is no reason that he pitches in that situation.
I think he's a veteran. If we're talking about like a guy who hasn't built up innings, I think there'd be a point here. But Mitch Keller is a guy who has shown the ability to be a workhorse already. So him going out for a 5th inning instead of a 4th inning, I can't be bothered to get upset about that.
I didn't need him to go out in the 4th inning. I'm done with it. I don't need him to get to a certain inning count just to make us feel good about some like weird stat that we made up about how many innings he can go.
It's not about that. It's just like, I don't think you have to treat him with training wheels like you would like a Jared Jones.
Not treating him with training wheels, though. It's reeling it back in when the guy obviously does not have it. His velocity's down again. Command was terrible. He's struggled lately. You've already burnt the crap out of him these last couple of years in these same situations. Maybe we give him a little break here and there. Domingo Germán is here for a reason.
I mean, but they gave him his break. they already gave him his break.
Like, he is getting the crap kicked out of him out there.
Yeah, he is.
So why leave?
Because, again, I think he can handle the workload.
Like, I see no reason in making him.
I feel like there's no difference in pulling him in the 4th or 5th inning. I don't see a difference here. I think this is a nothing point.
I think you only have so many bullets, and whenever you're seeing clear-cut signs that something's off today, and if, say, his velocity was normal and he's just getting beat around a little bit, I might be with you here. But with the velocity being down and the location being as bad as it was, that's when I'm pulling the plug.
Okay, that's fair. I don't think
just going out there.
I don't think it makes a difference.
I think it makes a big
difference. I think Keller has just like gone through cycles this year where his velocity is not always up.
I get that.
And sometimes he just has starts like that, and it's fine. And so, I don't know. I feel like that Mitch Keller is 27. He's been in the league for a while. Like, I don't really care whether or not they choose to save the bullpen a little bit by throwing him out there for 5 minutes in a game that doesn't matter.
The problem is that in my world here, by saving the bullpen, we're saving Domingo Germán. I don't give a crap about saving him. Let him get the crap.
I don't care about saving him either.
Well, that's your option. Go Germán there.
I'm in full agreement. Yeah. That's like, if you put in Germán in that 4th or 5th inning, cool. Yeah, if you put him in the 4th or 5th inning, cool. Like, I don't care because, like, you're right. Like, it's 8-0. Who cares? It's Domingo Germán. But at the same time, I know, like, Mitch Keller probably doesn't want to be pulled for any reason. And so, like, I don't care enough that a guy who can go 200 innings went 5 innings today.
I don't care if Mitch Keller wants to stay in there or not. Your job is to do what's best by your player. And I don't think he did what was best by his player there.
That's fine. I think it's a nothing issue.
Well,
I think there's a lot of stuff that Derek Shelton hasn't done right in this 10-game losing streak. This is not one of those things that I'm, like, angry about.
And Cruz asked a question about why O'Neal Cruz was not in the lineup today. He has hit lefties well lately. I would have liked to see him in the lineup today. Yeah. I said it on Starbucks on Monday that I really want to see him get at bats here against lefties because that's his next developmental point for him. He's got to start hitting lefties and at least put together competitive bats. I hate taking those away from him.
Yeah, I would have put him in the. I put him in the lineup every day.
I'm with you on that for sure.
Yeah, and it's probably one of those patented rest days that this team likes to do so much.
Yeah, probably. And with tomorrow being an off day, trying to stack back-to-back days, they love doing that, especially when it's a lefty. The reason I don't like that is just because a lot of times it seems to fall against the lefty right before that off day, and I feel like they lose so many valuable at-bats that he could have. And again, it's a building point on him. And I want to, at this point, I want to see him get more bats against lefties than righties. I need him to get better on that side.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cruz is good enough that you don't need to, like, platoon him in any capacity. And I don't think they usually do. Like, I don't think it's, like, normal for him to sit against lefties, but today they did. I mean, I would have liked him to take Martin Perez deep today, but I have no idea why he sat.
Yeah. And that's the other point that we have not gotten to yet here today. The Pirates got diced up by Martin Perez.
Yeah, it's poetic, isn't it?
Or as Jim correctly pronounces, Martin Perez.
Okay, Perez. Yeah, hey. Perez was good. Perez was good today. Well, the Pirates are also bad. Like, the Pirates can't do anything right. But, man, like, getting 8 strikeouts against Martin Perez is a
joke.
It's rough stuff. And I think Ryan said it last night. Like, I can't even be mad because like the point of anger has passed. Like at this point, it's just comedic. Like when I checked the score, like his final line, I just laughed because it's so Pirates.
There, and I don't think Perez looked any good today. He was all over the place. I didn't think he filled up the zone at all. Everything looked flat. He looked very hittable.
He always does.
He looked like the same
like
guy that we saw for half a season.
Yeah.
It's just that this team is significantly worse.
Mm-hmm. I mean, man, like you're talking like 5 through 9 today were brutal in terms of OPS today. Like it was a bad team, but you should score some runs off of Martin Perez, right? Like,
yeah,
they only got 1 run off of him in 5 in the 3rd inning. But I mean, I want to take a guess how many guys 5 through 9 have an OPS above 600? 1.
Well, I was going to say 4 in the lineup had.
OPS
under 600 today.
Four under 600. The only guy who has an over 600 one is Brian De La Cruz, who is like 7 for like 45 since joining the team.
Let's rewind here.
Yeah.
This team put out a lineup on August 14th that has 4 guys with an OPS over or with an OPS under 600.
Yes.
That is where we're at on August 14th in the 5th year of this rebuild.
And if you want to make it real fun, the guy with the OPS over 600 has an OPS of like 400 as a Pirate.
Yeah, it's bad.
The team it's a bad team. And I know we like caught a lot of flack for the offseason talking a lot about how like the moves made just weren't good enough. And you can see it on full display here. Michael A. Taylor, Yasmani Grandal giving Jared Triolo a spot on the team since opening day. Your big trade piece being Brian De La Cruz. Like none of the moves have been good enough to supplement a good pitching staff. And it's a shame.
And now we're at the point where the pitching staff's starting to regress a little bit.
Yeah.
Because what was asked of them was a little bit insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like they were pitching like the greatest pitching staff of all time.
And we're playing good teams. Like the Padres are a darn good team. Like they do everything well. The Dodgers, good team. Astros, good team. Diamondbacks, good team. Like you're playing a lot of good teams. And I just think in this 10-game losing streak, what you're seeing is just the difference of what happens when you employ good players and when you employ Yasmani Grandal and Jared Triolo. It's pretty simple. Like we can get into the nitty-gritty of whose fault it is. Like we can get into the nitty-gritty of game time decisions. But the fact of the matter is you are right. When you're 5 through 9 and August 14th looks like that, you're not going to win baseball games, or you're not going to win a whole lot of them.
Yeah, it's bad. Like it's hard to look at that lineup and again, August.
Connor Joe is batting 3rd.
Yeah.
Connor Joe can't hit anymore. Like it's so bad. And there's not really a whole lot to do to fix it. Except call up the young guys.
At this point, I mean, the only thing you can do is you got to purge some things.
Yeah.
Little spring cleaning or fall cleaning, I guess, since we're getting to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from that, Joey Bart continued to hit the ball well. Like that might actually be Ben Sherrington's best acquisition since he's arrived in Pittsburgh.
I would agree. Yeah.
At least hitter wise. I think
even like regardless, because like Quintana was 1 year. You have this guy for years to control, and he looks good. Like he finally got a hitter better than Daniel Vogelbach, and I'm really happy about that. Like before him, Vogelbach was the best hitter that he's gotten, and I think Bart looks like I don't think it's a fluke. Like I know we've seen guys get hot. I think Bart looks legit, and I would move him to first base next year, 100%. I think there's enough power there and enough hitting that you can play him at first base. You can let ND catch. You can let Davis catch. But Bart can stay on the team.
He's probably your front runner as a starting catcher next year.
Yeah. I just don't like ND at first base. But I'm not here to talk about roster for next year. But
we have plenty of time for that.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
I mean, aside from that, like I think Kiner Falefa looks good at the plate still, and then there's just junk.
But Reynolds was brutal today.
Yeah, he had a rough day today.
Mm-hmm.
He's allowed to have one. I'll give him it.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm not upset about Brian Reynolds at all.
Yeah, it's fine. You're allowed. Reynolds struggled today. Connor Joe just continues to put together awful at bats. Love Connor Joe. It's bad.
I'm done with the Connor Joe experiment. It's over. Like, the guy can't hit lefties anymore.
I think he's just super overexposed.
Yeah.
And I think we're at the point where he's just overexposed enough that it's the law of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
We've just used him so much that everything he does well is gone.
Yeah. He's not an everyday player. I thought he was a savvy pickup. Like, he's a nice bench piece, I think. I like Connor Joe, but you can't keep doing this, especially not hitting him in the middle of the lineup.
Yeah.
But it sucks to see. And 29 strikeouts in the last 2 days. Struck out 15 times last night, 14 today. Yeah. It's bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been bad. It's been a rough go of it. And Neil, we mentioned it's been 10 losses in a row.
Mm-hmm.
I have one question for you. Would you fire Derek Shelton tomorrow?
If I thought it would make a difference, yes. Here's my thing. If you need to fire Derek Shelton to light a fire under the players, if you just think that's the change you need to make, go for it. I have said my piece on what I think about Derek Shelton. I don't think managers matter that much. I think almost all the problems that you see are from the front office and their inability to acquire good baseball players. But if you need to fire him, fine. I genuinely just think we are watching a different sport. If you look at this team with the players on the roster and think that firing Derek Shelton is going to meaningfully change this team, I would love to be wrong. If he gets fired tomorrow and they go on some major run, fine. I'll say I'm wrong. But when Brian Hayes is hitting fifth, and he's arguably the second best hitter 5 through 9, I don't see how firing Derek Shelton fixes these issues. So go ahead, fire him. Fire Andy Haynes. The players aren't good enough.
Do you know of another organization that would keep a manager around in year 5 of them managing without going over 500? And it's August 14th and you're on a 10-game losing streak less than a month after you were 2 games over 500. Nobody else is keeping this guy.
I mean, I know it's not 5 years, but did Brandon Hyde suddenly become a good manager over the last 2 seasons? Because he was tank commander manager for the Orioles through the first 2 or 3 years of his Orioles career. What made Brandon Hyde a bad manager in 2019 and 2020, but is a good manager now in 2024?
You just said 2 or 3 years. That's a big difference from 5 years. This is year 5. This guy is 80 games under 500 as a manager. And I'm not saying I don't know if Derek Shelton is a good manager or not. He might end up going somewhere else, and it might be a better fit for him. I think if you are looking at this team right now and you just look across professional sports, I don't care what sport it is, somebody after this stretch right now, 10 games in a row where you have basically been embarrassed and you are losing every single game, and by the end of it, you're not even competitive anymore. Somebody in this organization has to be fired. It doesn't matter if it's their fault or not. Somebody has to be fired, and I think it has to be Derek Shelton.
All right. And like I said, I've always maintained that Derek Shelton can go. Derek Shelton can be fired, and this team will continue to be the same team. And so, like, if you want to fire Derek Shelton, fine, go for it. If he's not allowed in PNC Park tomorrow, so be it.
I don't think he should be allowed.
Which is fine. Yeah,
fired tonight.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. I just, again, I don't see how that changes Michael A. Taylor and Jared Chiolo and Yasmani Grandal getting significant playing time this season because the roster is so poorly constructed. If Shelton has to be the fall guy, fine. Fire him. Light a fire under the team. I don't really care. But I think people are going to be. I'll let you start. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But like,
no, you're fine. Go ahead.
I think people are going to be really disappointed when he's fired and things don't change because ultimately the people in the front office can't do their jobs.
I do not disagree with any of that. I think this front office is the main problem here, aside from ownership. And that's conversations for another day. We
know ownership's bad.
We have to talk about what is in front of us here.
Yeah.
And the easiest thing to change is the manager.
Yeah.
And we've seen it work in other situations.
Like what?
We have Mike Matheny getting fired.
Did that really work? I mean,
yeah.
Cardinals, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, maybe you're talking about like Charlie Montoyo in Toronto.
It does happen.
It does happen. I also think those teams were a whole lot better than the 2024 Pittsburgh Pirates. But again, like I said, no skin off my back, and even no skin off my back if Derek Shelton is key cards are denied at the door tomorrow.
Coming into this year, what was your prediction on the Pirates' final record?
78 wins.
Okay. You're around the same number as me then.
Yeah. I thought this was a below average team going in.
Okay. But what would you say the major problem with this team has been this year? Aside from roster construction, just if we're looking hitting and pitching, I would assume you to say that hitting has been the major issue.
Yeah, I would say. I say we roster a lot of bad position players.
I would agree with that, but I also think that the hitting coach is absolutely atrocious, and
I agree
about that. And who employs him and who keeps him around?
I think Andy Haynes is a lot more culpable for this team's failures than Derek Shelton is.
And I think Derek Shelton has to take the fall with him because he employs him.
That's entirely fine.
And he kept him around far too long.
If getting rid of Haynes means that I have to get rid of Derek Shelton, I make that. I do that every day. I know I'm the big Derek Shelton shill, and I know like I've literally driven people away from watching me on the podcast because of it. But man, like if that's what I have to do to get Andy Haynes out of my organization, yes, I will do that right now. Like easy.
I mean, like if this team were to fire Derek Shelton and not fire Andy Haynes along with him, I might jump ship and join you.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I might go on a rampage about how great Derek Shelton is if they keep Andy Haynes around and fire Derek Shelton.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like, I don't mind like a boss who like won't like throw his employees publicly under a bus. But I also understand the frustration that, Derek Shelton doesn't go to the media and talk about. I understand that like some of what he says is very, very poorly said. And I did not like his last statement about how like we just needed some breaks.
Yeah.
I understand what he's trying to do, but that's not what the fans want to hear. Like it's not. You can't go out and publicly say that. But
and I mean, you also can't every time you get questioned on something, you can't say, oh, well, he just didn't execute a pitch. No, like every now and then, Derek, you screwed up. Just fall on the sword, bud.
Yeah, and he will probably be gone at the end of the season. And I think people will be happy, and then people will be really disappointed when things don't change next year. That's always been my take.
Yeah. Well, we talked enough about Shelton tonight. I think we're done for the day.
Yeah.
Pirates lost this one 8-2. I'm about out of steam. I'm about out of steam of watching this team, but we're all going to do it together for the next couple of months. We'll be here with you.
Yep.
I promise you guys, we will give out at least one more sandwich by the end of this year.
Yeah,
like
we are
the rest of the way.
People are struggling, man. Like we were not providing them with with the product they want, and at least we're not getting sued like the Pirates are.
Yeah.
Sheets isn't Randy Brothers isn't suing us, but like Sheets is so it could always be worse.
Had to knock on the wood. Denardo's over here saying that he's not making the promise of giving out another Primanti Brothers saying, I am. I promise you guys, before the end of this year, this team will win at least one game.
I will guarantee that will happen.
That will be the most valuable sandwich of all time. It's going to be the last one given out.
And it'll be Doug winning it again.
All right, let's get out of here, Neil. I'm Tyler. That's the blue-eyed bandit, the one that steals all of our views because he defends Derek Shelton too much.
I didn't think it'd be that controversial when I took this up, but man, like a lot of people do not like it.
Sure don't. Let's get out of here, man. Join us tomorrow for North Shore 9 Live. Me, Jim, and Denardo will be back with you. Hopefully Friday we'll be talking about a win. We're out
Let's
of here.
hope so, man. Let's hope so.
Yeah.
See you later.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.